The open source revolution is an alternative to conventional software, where you pay for software and you use license keys. And Photoshop or Microsoft Office are good examples of these pieces of software, because if done properly, the license keys only allow one user or a group of users access to the software and no one else can use it. And if they want to try distributing it, they can't, and all they have is a set of compiled object code, which is meaningless for them to try and reverse engineer or edit. Open source code is the opposite. Everything's free to download, publicly available, and you can contribute or edit the code if you want to. There are licenses, it's not a free-for-all, and in terms of money, that comes from donations or sponsors. And some of the biggest open source projects are Visual Studio Code, the editor that I probably use every day, NumPy, and Pandas. Now, open source code isn't perfect. There are some dangers, one being security flaws. Anyone who's new to open source might not be used to sharing code and might accidentally share security keys or passwords, which puts them at risk. The code can also be hard to use because it's written by someone, probably with the intention of them or someone similar to them using it. And if you're a beginner, that can be quite hard. But even if you're not, interpreting what other people have written is often very difficult, especially if they haven't done it correctly. And if you want help, there might not be support forums available, but on larger projects, they usually will be. And a bigger issue is misuse. An example here is GPT-3, which actually wasn't released. It's a huge text generation model created by OpenAI, who, as their name suggests, usually make their code open source. But they were worried, and they write quite a lot in their paper, about how the model is so powerful that giving it away would be a huge security risk, because while people could use it for good things, other people could use it for less good things. But the main thing about open source is that it creates a whole new power to coding. Code isn't just about money, as some organisations may make you think, and most top coders don't think of their code as work that they need to be paid for in the conventional sense. And so they live in this open source ecosystem where they contribute and use open source software. And they might be writing code for thousands of people, but it means that there are thousands of people writing code for you too, or maybe not quite as many, because there are often more consumers than writers. They're using things that other people have created, as well as giving away the things that they make. And by using things that other people have made, this gives them more control, because if they want new features, they can just write them themselves. And it's a way of being able to change your tools, which you can't do with conventional software. And as a result, this creates some of the most incredible projects. I think two of the biggest ones are TensorFlow and PyTorch, which are immensely complicated pieces of software that I don't think a single individual could write on their own, but with lots of people coming together with this shared goal of creating machine learning frameworks, you now have these two incredible tools that you can use and are entirely open source. Open source code has provided huge amounts of information and ideas that are available to people, and I think this is a much better culture than the license keys and only allowing people who work in one company to see the code and ideas that you've written. Open source is the way forward. Next time you think you might be able to sell code and make money, make it open source and think how much more value it will have.